Hi, everybody. I'm Julie Williams. Welcome to 2021, the year to get it done. And that's because we want to do it this year. All those things that we wanted to do to really get our career going, we want to get it done this year. So I'm glad you were able to join us. This is our $21 webinar, but it won't be after tonight. It'll be $50 for anybody who wants it. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to have sort of a check-in, an assessment webinar of this same stuff in June, so we can go over and see how it's doing and what we can do to maybe fix some of the things that we're not doing right. So 2021, the year to get things done. I'm assuming everybody, y'all got your workbooks, and we're gonna basically go through the workbook as we go through the webinar, and I'll give you some answers and you'll be figuring out some answers for yourself. So let's get started. To be successful, most successful businesses, like Fortune 500 companies and other businesses, have a mission statement, and that's really critical. Most voiceover talent don't, but that's really critical because that tells you where you're going. It tells other people your mission as well, but it also keeps you on track for where you're going. What is it that you want to do with your business? My mission statement is to honor God by ensuring that all of my clients and students get more out of our relationship than I do. And I make that public. It's my promise to everybody, all of my students and all of my clients, that I am going to make sure they get more out of our relationship than I do. And this guides me. This keeps me on track. If I'm at a crossroads for something, does this fit with my mission statement? Now, your mission statement might not be as altruistic. I've been in this business for 40-something years, okay? I'm not worried about making X number of dollars. I'm not worrying about making my mark on the industry. I'm not building my career, okay? And that puts me in a different position. I'm sort of like, not quite winding down, just sort of coasting into retirement is where I am. But you're in a different place. So you decide what you want to do, whether you're a beginner, whether you've been doing this for 20 years and you just want to jumpstart a little bit, or whatever it is that you want to do. Your mission might even be to switch to audiobooks from having done commercials for a couple of decades, or whatever it is. You figure out your mission. It could even be something like my mission is to support my family by voicing this, that, and the other thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I wouldn't make that a public one because it doesn't tell the client what's in it for them. And if that's the case, you might want to have that mission for you. And another mission about serving your clients that you can put public on your website or whatever. Note that creating a mission statement takes time. You have to sit down and decide, what is it that I'm all about? And what is it that I want to do here? And if it's about making money, that's okay, but I wouldn't put that out there. Make it easy for you and your staff, your contractors, your prospects, anybody that does any work for you, anybody that has your name on it, like an editor that you work with, or anybody that might be an assistant that works with you at anything you do. They need to understand the mission statement because they need to be on track with it as well. Not the clients, but anybody that's affiliated with you needs to be on track with the mission statement. So to develop your mission statement, explore your purpose for being in business. And then when you've refined it, really a 1 to 3 sentence, something you can memorize, something you can put in your signature of an email. That's really the best thing with a mission statement. So you've refined it to 1 to 3 sentences. The shorter, the better. Then write it down. Write it down here at the beginning of this book. We're going to come back to this book in 6 months, okay? All right, and you know what? When you're done with this, we would really love it, and there's no rush on this, but we'd really love it if you would go to the Voiceover Insider Connect webpage. It's our webs group. We've got about 5,000, 5,500 voiceover talents there. I'm not really sure. It's a great place to network with other talents and get input from them. And if you would just post your mission statement there, you can get feedback and just let us know, what your mission statement is. That would be pretty cool because I would love to see, what people's mission statements are. Okay, I know this. I thought this cough was gone, and now I'm clearing my throat and coughing. Okay, the starting point for success. Recognize your obstacles. Okay, so to determine what you're going to do, you need to look at what gets in the way, and these can be internal obstacles like I procrastinate, or my wife doesn't like me doing this, or I can't do it at night because such and such happens. I can't do it during the day because I work. Whatever your obstacles are, recognize what they are, whether they're caused by yourself or others, and write down your potential obstacles to success, because that's how you're going to figure out how to overcome them. One major obstacle that people have is undercapitalization. And this is for newbies. This isn't really, if you've been doing it for a while, you have your studio set up, this really isn't going to be you probably, unless there's an area you want to branch out to that you don't have the money to do so. But you know what? Being in business costs money, and you are running a business, and you need to keep that in mind. So undercapitalization is really the number one reason that businesses fail. Whether it be a restaurant, whatever it is, undercapitalization is a killer. So can you afford to start a business right now? For example, if you're a person who decides you want to get into voiceover because you're benched by COVID-19 and you have a pretty voice, and you think that you can get into voiceover and make up for being benched because people will like your voice, that's not going to fly. It's not going to work, because you've got to have the capital to build your business. You're not going to just get discovered because someone likes your voice. Everybody has a pretty voice. I've seen very, very few people in this world in my entire career that actually don't have a good enough voice to do voiceover. If they can't, it's normally the skills, not the voice. Okay, so you're going to need the money for training. You're going to need it for equipment. You're going to need it for marketing. You're going to need it for supplies. You've got office supplies. You've got a phone to take care of. And this is going to vary, based on you. I mean, if you're beginning and you don't have anything, you might have to budget, even for a computer. Okay, but if you've already got a computer, you might have to just budget for a studio. Maybe you've already got the studio, you've got all the equipment, then you've got a budget for professional development, coaching, performance coaching, and maybe marketing coaching, maybe and putting together demos for sure, and then marketing yourself, whether you're going on pay to plays, which I really don't recommend. Maybe you need help with other marketing that you do. You need to have money to handle all this. So working capital is an ongoing need. I need working capital all the time. I mean, I do marketing things still. I still, buy office supplies. I still, do professional development. I still have coaches, because that's an ongoing thing too. So you got to think about what you need and what your goals are, and at your place and time. Are you in this for 20 years? What is it that you need? Maybe you don't really need performance coaching, but you need marketing coaching, or you need business coaching, or, you need to get your websites all redone. You need to work on your branding. All of these things that you need to work at are things that you need to have the money for. So you need to plan ahead. So you're going to make a note of what you need to invest in this workbook. You can do that later. So what it is, but just think of all the things that you need to invest in, total up the money, and then add some. This is going to take thousands of dollars if you're just starting your business. So don't just, jump into it. I always say, don't buy this Subway franchise if you can't afford the bread. You're going to go down. You're going to go under. You'll be undercapitalized, and we got to make sure that you don't go under. Another thing that can stop you, another obstacle, is unrealistic expectations. And that is like, well, first of all, are you qualified? Or are you the person that was benched by COVID-19 and just decided, my voice is pretty, I'll get into this? You're not qualified then to do this. Are you just someone who came from radio but hasn't had any voiceover training or voiceover experience, or really doesn't know anything about the voiceover industry, which is a total separate industry? Then you're not qualified. I'm not saying you can't do it. Any of you can do it. Even if you're just benched by COVID, you can do it. But you've got to know what you're getting into and and get yourself qualified to do the job. So you need performance coaching. I have my Proven Techniques for Voiceover Success 4-week performance class starting next Tuesday. I do private coaching. By the way, if you sign up for that 4-week class, you will get a refund on this class, because we're giving this class free for everybody who signs up for that one. Get a good whole voiceover life coach, someone who's going to guide you not just in performance and not just care about you during your session. So someone who's going to care about you outside of your session, someone that you can email and they're going to respond to you, somebody who can coach all aspects of your life. Basically a life coach for voiceover. And I am not a life coach. I'm a voiceover life coach. And there are things that I've been able to help as far as other things, what a life coach would do, but I'm not a life coach. But in your voiceover life, I can coach your performance. I will coach your I will coach your marketing. I'll guide you through other people that you want to go through. I help with all sorts of things. You know, basically, this is the industry that I've been in for 40 something years, and I help in any way I can. And sometimes people want to just stop and they want to talk, and they want to talk about, why aren't I making money? Or what do I do about this situation with this client? This situation with this agent? How do I handle this? Those are the things that a voiceover life coach will help you with. Mostly in my coaching, I focus on performance. And mostly after that, I focus on marketing and branding. But, you know, these other things come up. So you need to have somebody that you trust that is in your corner. So find a good coach. And I can recommend some people. Just email me at julie@voice-overs.com. If I'm not right for you, I can find somebody who is. If you want to coach if you want to do, let's say, audiobooks or, you know, cartoons or video games, I'm not your right person for that, but I can direct you to somebody who is. Are you wanting to be discovered? You know, there was a time when people did get discovered in voiceover. You know, they had a great voice. Someone would discover them. The next thing you know, they're a voiceover star. But that really hasn't happened in a very long time. And in my lifetime, as far as I can recall, it happened to Don LaFontaine. Remember, he was the movie trailer guy who died, wow, about 10 years ago now. And he was an audio editor, and the voice guy didn't show up, and he filled in. And the next thing you know, he's got it. You know, multi-million-dollar contracts and all that. The other one, I don't even remember his name, but do you remember that homeless guy who had a really, really deep voice? He was on the streets in New York City, and somebody discovered his deep voice. And he ended up with a contract with one of the major networks for voiceovers, and there was a whole big whole, you know, marketing thing about him and all that. Unfortunately, he was an alcoholic, and he ended up back on the streets again. They had set him up in an apartment. They'd given him a good income, but he's sick. He wasn't able to do it. And he was hired because of his voice. But, you know, nobody else is just hired because of their voice. I mean, you don't get discovered. You get noticed. And you don't get noticed by accident. You get noticed because you put yourself out there to be noticed. And that's what we're going to talk about today. It's not something that happens to you. It's something that you make happen. And we're going to get to that, you know, a little bit later on today. Okay, are you willing to do the work that it takes to run a business? It doesn't run itself. If you work half effort, you're going to get minimal results. You'll get some, but you'll get minimal results. So you just have to decide. You know what I do when I'm trying to think if I'm working hard enough? I think of what's his name? Shark Tank. Mark Cuban. I think, would Mark Cuban be happy with me today? No. In fact, most of the time it's no. Mark Cuban's got some pretty high standards. But just think about if somebody like Mark Cuban would be happy. Would he fire you if you were working for him? A lot of days I have to say shamefully, yes, he would fire me. And some days I would say I would fire me. So think about that. I mean, if you're working for somebody else, would they fire you? Would you fire somebody who works the way you do? So think about your work ethic and get going. You need to assess what is your long-term plan. Okay, and think about this as, say, an annual thing. What is your annual long-term plan? Use the funnel system with your long-term plan to break it down into smaller bite-sized pieces. Okay, and then you can work on it day by day. You know, a huge, you know, lose 50 pounds. That's you don't do it in one day. So you have to think about ways that you can break it down into smaller bites. And the funnel system is a system where you do that. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. And you'll see a graphic for that, and I'll walk you through it. But it's where you would start with the major goal, and you break it into smaller ones, and you break it into smaller ones, and you break it into smaller ones. So you would have your annual goal, and then you would have your quarterly goal, and you go down to your monthly goal and your weekly goal. And you're actually assessing goals and strategizing all the time. It doesn't take a lot of time, but at the beginning of the week, you're working through the week. During the day, you're working through the day, working on using the funnel system, okay? And that's kind of a new tech word, you know, a new buzzword for, you know, just basically making things into bite-sized pieces. All right, so remember, with lack of planning, if you fail to plan to fail. One of the biggest obstacles I find in my business is procrastination. That's one of my big things. And procrastination offers a immediate gratification. I do it much more now than I ever used to. And that's kind of because I'm not really building my career. It's kind of because I'm skating, going towards retirement. And, I realize that, but it's still not good. And so how do you overcome it? Part of it is planning, because sometimes people procrastinate because they walk into their office and they think, okay, what do I do now? Or they know they need to make these phone calls, but they're afraid. So they put it off. Well, what you've got to do is, my mother says this, you don't gotta wanna, you gotta do it. And then somebody else I know has this phrase that I really love, take action and willingness will follow. And that makes a lot of sense. You wanna go exercise, but you just can't get yourself to go out and do it. But get yourself to go out and then you'll do it. But if you're just sitting around, waiting to start up again, it's really hard to do it. On this workbook, I've got a picture of Stop Wasting Time, End Procrastination in 5 Weeks with Proven Productivity Techniques. This is a book by Garland Colson. You can get it on Amazon. It's not very expensive and it's a pretty quick read, but it is a 5-week course workbook, and it's very, very good. I highly recommend it. I have coached with Garland on productivity, and he's very, very good. And so you might want to check out that if productivity is one of your issues. Planning is the key. Remember, as I said, you want to do it annually, quarterly, weekly, daily, monthly, daily, and then determine what you want to accomplish in these timeframes, and then break them down into bite-sized pieces and use a very good tool, a planner, to do this. Now, the planner I use, it's called Planner Pads, and you can get it at plannerpads.com, I think it is. They might have it on their thing. I just got mine in for 2021. And I really love it because it really helps with the funnel system. It helps you to plan your goals. It has everything from different categories that you have to work in, which we'll get to the to-do list, and then the appointment book as well. So we're going to get on to planning in a minute. Do we have any questions so far about, procrastination or any of the things that we've talked about, perhaps budget or anything? You can write your question in the Q&A, or you can also raise your hand if you'd like to. And Jay, our producer, who I forgot to introduce at the beginning, Jay Overton, can let you get on, and we can talk to you. So I don't have the okay. It looks like Tina has a question, and so does Susan. So, okay, Tina, you're on. What's your question? All right, your microphone is off, Tina. We'll need to turn that on. Can you do that yourself?
Oh, is it on now?
It's on now. So what's your question, Tina?
My question really quick is, could you just repeat one more time the name of that book, the productivity book?
Sure, and it's Stop Wasting Time, End Procrastination in 5 Weeks with Proven Productivity Techniques. Really, it's Stop Wasting Time by Garland, kind of like what you decorate with, Garland.
Right.
Coulson.
Okay, thank you.
Very good book, Tina. Hi, Susan. What's your question? Susan, you can go ahead and unmute.
Hello.
Hi, what's your question?
My chat was disabled. Just wanted to say hello.
Hi. How are you doing? Okay, so we'll lower your hand. Anybody else have any questions? Are there any in the Q&A box?
There is one. What tactics have you used to counter procrastination?
Okay. One thing I've done, we're going to get to, is how I plan what I'm going to do. So I have a specific list to do. And I set time frames for it. I will work on auditions for 15 minutes, and I will work on this for this number of minutes, and I'll work on that for that number of minutes, and I'll take a 10-minute break in between, and then I just focus to it, and I get to it. Some of the reasons I procrastinated have been the reasons that I talked about. I procrastinated because, I was dreading something. I didn't know what to say when I made that phone call. I was hoping they wouldn't answer and I could leave a voicemail or something like that. And so I wrote down what I was going to say when I did it. I basically set goals and make myself do a certain specific thing before I leave work that day. And let's see, what else have I done? The planning is the biggest thing. And one of the things is, sometimes it's procrastinating because you're looking and there's all these things to do and you're like, where do I start? And so I can write out categories of things I'm going to do. This hour, I'm going to work on auditions. And this hour, I'm going to work on voiceovers. And this hour, I'm going to work on marketing. And this hour, I'm going to do, the financials. I'm going to be paying bills and invoicing people or whatever I need to do for financial. And I will highlight that hour in the appointment book in a different color. And then I just attack it. I give myself breaks. I'm still dealing with the procrastination issue. Seems to be ongoing. But the one thing about take action and willingness will follow, I found on things I've needed to do over the break that's really helped me. My brother just told me this. He has a friend that uses that, and it's really been helpful to me. What is there anybody that has another tip for procrastination? One of you guys, there's about only about 40 of us attending live, but maybe one of you guys have a tip for dealing with procrastination. If you do, go ahead and raise your hand. I know I'm not the only one dealing with this issue. And to me, it's the number one issue for me, because I'm pretty organized. A lot of people, the number one issue is getting organized. I'm pretty organized, and we're going to talk about that. Okay, Roland, do you have an idea for how not to procrastinate? Hi, Roland, you can unmute now. I'm hearing something, but Roland, are you there? Okay, let's move on to Cassandra. What's your idea about how not to procrastinate? What are your thoughts?
Hi, Julie. I actually don't have I have actually a question.
Okay, what's your question?
What type of advice can you give because the reason I procrastinate is because I'm intimidated. I go out there and I start listening to all these demos and I'm like, no way.
Okay, so yours is the fear factor.
Yes.
So you face fear with facts. Okay, so you look at yourself and say, what is it I'm afraid of? What is it that they're better than me? Why are they better than me? Is it because they're more skilled? Okay, what can I do about that? You can get more skilled. Okay, is it you're walking in, you're afraid because you're not sure what to say, or you're afraid that you are actually good enough, but you're just not secure. And then you've got to work on that. That's another whole issue. I used to have confidence problems all the time. And I've determined that competence breeds confidence. So you definitely want to get yourself skilled, get yourself a good coach that can work with you on both performance aspect of it and the marketing aspect of it, get you good demos together if you don't already have them. Because if you're not competent to compete, you're wasting your time. I mean, that's just a fact. You are wasting your time. So, we don't want you to do that. But if you aren't competent, then do what it takes to get competent, and get yourself to where you can be more confident. But a lot of times that confidence comes from stepping out and then finding success. One person hires you and then you're like, oh, well, they hired me. And on some of the pay to plays, they list if somebody liked you, even if they didn't hire you. I'm not sure how they work. When I was on them, I never bothered with the analysis things. And I never went back to see anybody listened or whatever. I just did the audition and went on with my life. But, maybe something like that would give you a little bit more confidence. But in fear, you got to counter that with the facts. So you need to dig in and find out what is it that makes you afraid, and where is it that you feel you fall short, and then you can go and attack that by remedying those things, and then making a plan to overcome whatever the shortcomings are. Is that clear?
That sounds really great. Thank you.
Good, Cassandra. I wish you well. Hi, Roland. Are you back again?
Yes, I'm here, Julie. Thanks.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Yeah, what I was going to suggest is that I have a 5-day plan, and it's mapped out in my studio, which guides me through the week, because when I look at everything in a larger scope, it becomes very overwhelming. And from years of teaching, it's easier to break it down into smaller pieces.
Exactly. And that's what we do with the funnel system. Because once I get down to the weekly, it's a 5-day plan. It's 7 days, but I just do Monday through Friday because I'm taking the weekends off. I have a policy. I will not even boot up my computer on the weekend. If you email me on the weekend, you're not going to hear back till Monday.
Nice.
But it's a 5-day plan once I get there, because at a Sunday night or Monday morning, I'll be going through and I'll be going through all of the things I need to do based on what we've determined, what the weekly is going to be, and apportioning that out throughout the week, and also doing the time chunks of, I'm going to do auditioning on these hours, and it's not set in stone. I mean, if an audition comes in, if I do auditions 10 to 11 and one comes in at 1 o'clock and they need it now, I'm going to do it now.
Right. Right.
You've got to be flexible. None of this, it's all fluid. None of this is set in stone. But you're right. That's exactly it, to do it in small bite-sized chunks. And it's the best way to eat an elephant. I mean, you can actually swallow it that way. So that's very good advice, Roland. And that's what we're going to be talking about in just a little bit. Does anybody else have any questions or suggestions?
I was going to suggest the 3-2-1 technique for procrastination. Have you heard of that one?
What is that?
So basically you count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you just get up and do it. You can Google it. Seriously, go on YouTube. There are so many things. There's TED Talks about it. It is life-changing.
Okay.
Just do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And then you just do it.
That's
So
basically
no matter what it is you're doing, no matter what it is, it can be, I'm going to get out of bed, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you get out of bed. You could, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, out the door. It's,
that's
but
like
if you go on YouTube, yeah, sorry.
that's like my friends, take action and willingness will follow. I mean,
Okay.
once you're on the way to brush your teeth, you're going to finish going there.
There you go.
So I'm glad you.
Yeah, but I discovered it on TED Talks, and it's all over YouTube.
That is
So
funny. I've never heard of that before. But yeah, that works. And like what Roland said, once you break it down into to smaller pieces, it's not as intimidating. And you break it down and you spread it out over the course of the week, or you block it, break it down, and this is going to be done on Monday and Tuesday afternoon, and the other thing is going to be done on Tuesday morning, and however you want to set it up, organizing it. Planning is definitely the key. Any other people who have a procrastination tip or a question about what we've covered so far?
There are a few that are in the question answer box. Kathleen says that just today she set up phone alerts.
Yes, I use my phone all the time for timing. In fact, when I set aside 15 minutes to do such and such, I put a timer on it. And unless it's critical that I can't stop at that point, I do stop there and go on, take a break and go on to the next thing. And when I take my break, I may take a 30-minute break and lay down on the couch in the middle of the day, but I've got a phone alert on it that tells me, okay, it's time to get up again. So, then I get up and heat up my coffee and go back in and reassess. And a lot of times you need to, when you're doing something and you take the break in between the chunks that we'll talk about in a little bit, when you take a break in between the chunks, you have to give yourself 5 or 10 minutes to reset your brain so that you can refocus to the next thing. Because if you're thinking, one thing and then you start moving on another thing, you're just sort of half in one and half in the other. And it's really not best for refining your focus. And they've determined that multitasking really is not best for us. We need to stay focused, and that's what's best for us. And that's what these tools help us to do, just to stay focused. So we are multitasking, that we're using a whole lot of tasks, but we are focusing them into individual chunks, individual tasks that we're going to do to get all these different things done. And we're going to talk about all of the different things in just a minute too. Okay, next question, Jay.
Well, actually, that's a good segue into what Richard had put in the question box. He said his most successful tip for procrastination is making lists.
Yes.
So you just tackle them in order.
Yeah, that's just breaking it down into small pieces and making lists for it. And I agree. I make lists all the time, and that's part of what we do in the funnel system. Next question.
Dean says that one thing that helps him get things done is to have hard and fast deadlines, and then a reward for completing the task and meeting or beating the deadline. That
works for a lot of people. Have a little piece of chocolate afterwards. Get a reward. You can watch a movie. You can do whatever. The reward thing doesn't work well for me. because I tend to give myself the reward anyway. So I'm not a good one for that. But for a lot of people, that would do really well. It could be, you know, get this done and that done and that done, and then you go get to go take a walk, you know, or take a nap or something like that. That would be really helpful. Okay. And what else, Jay?
Colette says that she gets daunted or overwhelmed when there is so much to do. So she plans her day the night before so that when she wakes up, she gets to it. And
Good.
like you, Julie, she carves time out for auditions and marketing and other tasks.
Very good, Colette. That's exactly what I do. I sometimes do it the night before on Sundays. But that, you know, there are a lot of people that recommend doing it the night before. And to start Monday on Friday, you know, to start planning for Monday on Friday, so that you can kind of get up to speed, like you're really full speed on Friday or Thursday, whenever you end your week. And then you can kind of plan for what you're going to do in the following week, and then move that over to Monday. And then when you wake up on Monday, you don't have to go, oh, okay, now it's been a whole weekend. Now what do I do to get jump started for this week? What do I have to do? What do I have to do? You already know what you have to do. And then you can start implementing it, you know, and get that weekend brain off of you. Thank you, Colette. That was excellent.
Ralph also says that it helps to begin a simple daily routine and follow it each day to build strong habits.
Yes.
That lays out the foundation for creating larger goals that are reasonable.
And some people say, you know, get dressed up, and that helps you do better. And, you know, we're working at home and we don't see anybody, and we might not dress up. We might not wash our hair often enough. Hopefully we brush our teeth all the time. But I found that that's true sometimes. The main thing I've discovered is I'm a barefoot person. But if I'm having trouble getting motivated, I put shoes on. And somehow that gives me a little bit more energy, and I'm able to get, you know, some more stuff done. Okay, who else do we have in there?
Tim is suggesting there's another book by Brian Tracy called Eat That Frog.
Okay, I'm going to write
It's
this
sort
one
of like eating the elephant, I would believe.
Yes, Brian
Tracy.
Eat That Frog. That sounds good. I think I'm going to buy that one and see how I can incorporate it with everything else I do. Thank you. Okay, next one.
And there's one more from Jody, who says the planner pad is great, and I go with just do it. Once you get something done, that sense of satisfaction keeps you going. Also, there's great satisfaction when you can cross things off your list.
Yes, I get satisfaction. I'll write things down after I did them so I can cross them off, you know, or check them off. I know that's crazy, but some of us A personalities do that. Jody, I'm glad you got the planner pad. We'll be working through that. I think you're really going to love it. Okay, so goal setting. We've talked a little bit about that. That's basically what we're going to do with the funnel system. And goal setting is basically what you do on Friday for Monday, if you decide that that's how you want to do it. You want to work on results-oriented goals rather than, action-oriented goals rather than results-oriented goals. If you like, okay, this week I'm going to make, you know, $2,000. Really? How are you going to do that? How about this week I'm going to make 10 phone calls? You might make $2,000 by making 10 phone calls. So it's kind of like, if you build it, they will come. You go through the actions that it needs to take to do things, and then let the money, let the results, you know, happen. They're going to happen. If you do what it takes, it will happen. But focus on doing what it takes, not focusing on what you want to happen. Some people say, dream it into the universe, put it into the universe and it's going to happen. I'm not really big on that. I'm big on determine how to do it, and it's going to happen. If that's how you feel, you know, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. I just disagree. It's been my experience. It's kind of the other way around, which doesn't mean I don't think you should have a vision board or a vision of what you want, but you've got to take that vision of what you want and determine how to get there, and then break it down, you know, through annual, et cetera, you know, bite-sized pieces, and get with something called like planner pads, like I mentioned before. I highly recommend, and Jody mentioned it a minute ago. That is my Bible when it comes to planning and implementing and doing and keeping information. I mean, it's just like when I moved this summer, the movers lost it. They actually packed my purse and my appointment book, my planner, in a box somewhere in the truck, and it was a week before I found it. I mean, it's like, who does that? You're moving somebody, and when you pack them up, you take their purse and pack it. We also missed my keys. We got here and the keys were packed somewhere. So it's like, anyway, that's another whole story. We won't sound off on that. Done, fixed. Think about the rule of 7. Okay, we can only effectively focus on 7 areas of our lives at a time. And these are going to include the personal stuff we do, our goals outside of voiceover, specific aspects of our business as far like marketing or bookkeeping and you know, behind the scenes business stuff, you know, running the business, auditioning, voicing, all of these different things. We have to decide what our 7 will be. If you have more, you have to realize that you really can't focus on more than 7 things at a time. It's not my rule, it's God's rule. I mean, it's just the way we're made. We're not able to do that. And they've determined that, I think in the 80s or 90s, they figured out that. And fortunately, in our planner pads, we have 7 columns because there are 7 days of the week. And so in our columns at the top of the planner pad, which you'll see if you want to turn onto the page that has an appointment book page on it. You can see what your columns could be. And this is just one page out of a 2-page spread. I have auditions, voiceover, marketing, and professional development marked out here. And it's there would be 7 things across. You decide what you want your 7 things to do. Remember, family is going to be one. If you're, say, moving, okay, and you're having to focus on that, finding the right house, you know, putting together mortgage applications, you know, whatever it is that you have to do for the moving, that's going to have to go onto something, you know, getting documents together, maybe doing your taxes might have to be a separate one. I have financial as one every week. It has to do with organizing the finances, paying the bills, invoicing, stuff like that. And then come tax time, it has to do with gathering the taxes together. It has to do with paying the taxes every month, which is how I do it. And we'll get to that. And here, like, for example, on this funnel system, I have at the very top, in the top 1/3, you'll see, I've got auditions. And so my to-do list underneath that is pay to play auditions, video game audition. I don't do either one of those, but that's just an example, okay? And these are the weekly tasks that I'm going to do under each of these categories. So then I would move that down, funnel it down, as you see with the with that triangle I have there with that little arrow down, and you would put, you know, down below here I have on Monday is auditions, and I probably have it on several days. I would do that because I don't just audition on Mondays. And then I've got, say, under VO, I've got voice e-learning, and then I have, you know, send it all to the editor, you know, which I would do by module. And then I might have down here on Monday, you know, do e-learning, and then I might have Wednesday do more e-learning. Here you go. Okay, get e-learning back from the editor on Wednesday. So here I've got all of the categories that I want to work on, all of the different tasks that I want to do this week for it, not sending them out to what day yet, then putting them down to what day I want to do the tasks. And then down below here, you see I've got a lot of highlighted sections. And here is where I'm planning out my day, and I'm allotting what I'm going to do when. Here I've got a doctor's appointment on Monday at 2. So I've got to block off 2 hours. You know how that goes. But then at 4, I'm going to do marketing that day. And I'm going to check emails every day at 9 a.m. And I'm not going to be answering all the emails necessarily because a lot of those things are going to come in under the different categories, going to come in under, you know, printing them out for auditions or responding to somebody for coaching inquiries, where I would have, you know, down in another category coaching, or, you know, doing voiceover and auditions will be at a certain time. You know, you put them all down into the different categories. And then, you know, I have these, a lot of times I'll do a half hour, not an hour. And this book only lets me do it by the hour, but I don't have a bigger one that does half hours, and I love this system. So I keep using this system. But voiceovers and auditions, auditions don't usually take more than half an hour. So I put them together. A voiceover could take 5 minutes, but it could also be one that takes a few hours. And then you have to specifically set a time, you know, aside for that, because they don't all take that long. And this particular job has to be done at this time. So basically you can see we've just basically scheduled blocks of time for all of the categories, so nothing falls through the cracks. So I hope I described this funnel system here well. Does anybody have any questions about this itself? And again, this is Planner Pads. I think it's plannerpads.com that you can go. And I use the 8.5 by 11 executive size which is a spiral bound. Since I'm not, I use the large one because I don't go anywhere. It's all here, at home. And I buy the tabs to put in, so it's easier to get the monthly tabs in. And it's just a system I really love. I use it. I've been using it since I think 2011. Excuse me. Yeah, 2011. This is 2021, 2011. And I buy it every single year. Does anybody have any questions? Jay, is there a question in there?
Not a question, but Colette, she's recommending Clever Fox. Says
And
that's a planner really designed for voice artists, available on Amazon. Clever Fox.
I have to write that down. Clever Fox. Has anybody seen it? Colette, tell us about it. Or Colette, is Colette on?
Oh,
Colette, you want to open your mic and tell us about Clever Fox? Is that a paper one?
Can you hear me, Julie?
Yeah, I can. Is that a paper system?
No, it's paper, but it comes in a really nice binder, and it has things like daily rituals. What are your affirmations? Self-discovery. It has actually in it your vision board, so you can paste pictures or write things. It's been really recommended by a lot of voice artists who are marketing. I don't know if you are familiar with Mark Scott.
No, I am.
Yeah, he really recommends this. I have found it so useful getting everything done, like my marketing plan. I've been working with him or whatever, but it just lays everything out really nicely. And it actually says, what are your goals that day? Who are you going to call? Like, it has a column for that. So it's available on Amazon. So my fiance bought it for me for Christmas, and I'm in it every single day. So that's keeping me organized, right? So
does it also incorporate your other things that you have to take care of?
yes.
So you've got your marketing, and then you've got your professional development, and then you've got your family time and all that
Yeah.
stuff. That's in there too?
Yeah.
How much does it
Just
cost?
another idea, like another, yeah.
What does it cost?
That's a good question because my my fiance bought it for me. It's I think it's about $50 Canadian.
Okay.
Yeah.
This one is about probably $40 all said and done out the door of planner pads. When I bought the actual pad and and I buy these pockets that you put at the beginning and the end, so you have sleeves, and then I buy the dividers that you can put into it, so it's easier to get the month at a glance dividers. By the time I bought all that kind of stuff, it's about $40 a year that I do, so it's probably comparable. I should check that out. I'd like to just see it. I'll go ahead and buy one, and I might start recommending that. When people start talking about I believe in a vision board, but when people start talking about some of the other stuff you mentioned that aren't directly business related, I usually kind of think, whatever,
Well, it actually points out, like, what are your voiceover goals? What are your actual personal goals? You actually, it's a bit of self-discovery because it actually pinpoints, okay, what is it that I really want to do as far as voiceover? Like for me, I'm getting 4 demos done in e-learning, medical. I just realized I'm ramping up, I guess is what you can say, this year to ramp up. So I just thought I need something rather than just pieces of paper all over my desk. Something.
I know, I'm with you. Okay, and so it's called Clever Fox, and you can get it on Amazon.
Yeah.
We'll definitely have to check that one out.
Yeah.
Okay, the next thing, does anybody have any other questions or comments about this? I see there's more things in the Q&A. Jay, what we got there?
there's a question about whether or not you use a CRM.
I recommend a CRM. I recommend, I recommend that you use one. I am bad in that I don't. I usually work off of Google and paper, which is very, very old school. And Mark Scott would flog me for that. He recommends Nimble, and Nimble is very powerful, and I've heard a lot of really good things about it. But it has a bit of a learning curve, and I got impatient and didn't finish what it takes to go through the learning curve to figure out how to effectively use it. Now, if you're going to use Nimble, get a hold of Mark Scott, because he has a deal with them where he can get you a certain amount of free days or free weeks or something, and then also Nimble has video tutorials on their site, but Mark Scott's tutorials are even better than Nimble's tutorials. Their teachers just don't teach it well, and Mark does. So you might want to get a hold of Mark Scott. And he's an excellent resource for all of that. But I do recommend that you get a CRM of some kind. And maybe I'll do that finally. It is something I recommend. Do as I say, not as I do. Okay, next one.
We're really just talking about more. There's more talk about Clever Fox having a lot of options. Kate says that she likes Voiceover Review as a CRM.
Voiceover Review. Is that Voiceover View?
Oh, yes, you're right. Sorry.
The one by Danny States.
Yes,
Yeah.
Voiceover Review.
Is that an actual CRM? Yeah, I'm not real familiar with them. I know that they're reputable. I have a problem with giving, this is going to sound crazy, but I work hard to get my contacts, and I'm not saying anybody would take them or anything, but I don't want to go to another voiceover site and enter my clients. You know what I mean? And that's probably crazy. I don't think they're scarfing through it to get my clients. I mean, they've created a system for I'm sure it's confidential and everything. I just hesitate to go through and put down who I'm working for, what they're paying, how you can reach this client, and all that kind of stuff. So I've avoided it because of that, which is really stupid. It's my own issue. I'm sure Voiceover Review is fine. They're very reputable. They've been around for 3 years, maybe 4 years. And those people also do websites, I believe. I think they're a little bit pricey, but I understand they do a really good job in websites. I could be wrong about that as well, but I think it is. You can get a hold of Danny States, which is probably Danny@DannyStates.com. I'm saying that off the top of my head, but she can tell you more about that. Any others, Don? Jay, I called you Don. Sorry. Jay, are you there?
Sorry, yes, I was muted. Panda Planner Venture. It's a 90-day planner. It's also designed for small business and ideal for voiceover. That came from Paul. Richard, he says that he uses 17 hats as a CRM. I'm sure he's not talking about hats on his head. But yeah, 17 hats.
Okay, that's one to look into. I've never heard of that one. Any others?
Kate shares your concerns about confidentiality with your contacts, but let's see. Nope, that's it.
Okay, let's move on to prioritizing, unless there's any other questions about the funnel system and the stuff we've been talking about so far.
No more questions.
Okay, so Stephen Covey, he's long gone now, but he wrote the whole series of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And he's the one who introduced me to getting a mission statement together and how to do some of this planning. A lot of them has come over time, but he introduced me to doing the 7-day-a-week across the page planner. Rather than the ones that used to go, like on 2 pages. This is a lot easier to see across. Anyway, he had a really good system for prioritizing, and I've put it down. You've got an example of it. I believe you have an example of it in your book. Maybe, no, you don't. It's this quadrant. I call it the Covey quadrant. I don't know what he calls it. I don't remember. But basically, it's about how to prioritize. Here are 4 quadrants that you will live in. And if you can see, quadrant 1 is urgent and important. And quadrant 2 is urgent, not urgent, but important. And 3 is urgent and not important, and 4 is not urgent and important. So when you're sitting down to kind of reevaluate where you are and what you need to, work on, think about this. You want to live in quadrant 2, okay? Quadrant 2 is like, this is what you need to take care of. I need to get my oil changed. Now, if it moves over to quadrant 1, it's urgent. And that means, my engine blew up because I didn't change my oil, so I need to get it towed and take it in, okay? So we want to live in quadrant 1 and not end up in crisis mode. That's basically what the urgent is. It's crisis mode. So, if we don't change the oil, we're going to have an issue, and we've got to remember that, all of the things that if we don't get done, we're going to have this. If we don't get this job done by deadline, we're going to have an unhappy client. So this is where you want to write down all of the things that you have to do. You get your list of things you have to do, and you write down, what is it in? Is it in urgent, or is it in not urgent? And then really, if you're trying to figure out where to prioritize, I would ignore 3 and 4, because whatever it is, it's not important, whether it's urgent or not. And not important, urgent might be something like, you know, so-and-so wants me to come over and do such and such for them. Well, it's not necessarily your responsibility. And sometimes you have to just say no, because you've got things in quadrant 1 and quadrant 2 that you have to take care of. Okay, so go ahead and write in the different things that you have to do personally and professionally. Some of the things that you have to do, not every to-do task maybe, but it could be, you know, catch up on marketing. You know, get this by the deadline. You're pending the deadline now. You have a day left. It goes into crisis mode. It goes into quadrant 1. Or you're past the deadline, goes into quadrant 1. For example, pay your bills under not urgent. I didn't pay it. They're going to shut the lights off. You see what I'm saying? That's how you work in this prioritizing thing with the quadrant system. And it looks like we have a question there. What do we have, Jay?
Ken is making a comment that the quadrants that you are speaking to, along with insight on working through your mission statement, are included in the Franklin Covey planner system.
They are, because Franklin and Covey got together. And this is a Stephen Covey thing. So I haven't seen the Franklin Covey system in a long time. I haven't seen it included in their system, but this was in his book. And it's very, that's where I got it from Stephen Covey. I worked with his planner before he combined with Franklin. So yeah, I'm sure it is in that system, and it's a very, very good one to do. And you should go back and work on it. I haven't seen it if it's in their actual planner pad, you know, that's good if it is. I've only seen it in the books that are teaching you how to use it, or, you know, how to plan, which is what Covey did. He didn't actually have it in his individual one. So, okay, let's get down to some financial tips too. And I see a few other people had something to say. Let's go ahead and go there and then move on.
Tim was wondering if you could come up with maybe a couple of more examples for what would fit in quadrant 3, urgent but not important. Guess that depends on how you're defining not important.
Yeah, if you wanted to join such and such, your deadline to sign up for such and such is today. But yeah, you don't care if you sign up for it or not, you're not sure. So it may be urgent, you know, but when today's gone, you can't do it, but you didn't really know if you wanted to do it. Things like that. So it's basically a lot of just say no things. They're not important, but if you're gonna do them, you gotta do them now. That's what falls in there. And again, with the not urgent, it's the same thing. You know, I'd like to learn to dance someday. Not important now, not urgent at all, but you know, once you get to where you want to do it, you might move it up to sign up for dance classes in quadrant 2. See what I'm saying? Okay, let's move to to the next question.
Oh, that was all?
Oh, okay. It looked like there was another one on there. Okay, so let's go on to financial, because you know financial is a really big thing as far as being able to be successful. I mean, you can earn all the money you want, but you can burn it too. And so we want to make sure that we do things correctly. So you need to have a separate checking account. Now, this is kind of directed towards people who are new in the industry, but you've got to have a separate checking account, accounting software that will connect with your bank. I know a lot of people use FreshBooks. I don't. I'm not saying it's bad, and a whole lot of voiceover people do it. But if you can't reconcile it with your bank, you're just adding another step there. You know, with my bookkeeper, she works with me on QuickBooks, and I tell her when the income comes in, I tell her where it came from, how to categorize it. When stuff goes out, I'll either give her a snapshot of something or give her a quick email listing some things that I've spent, and things I bought on Amazon, or maybe not, and she has to get back with me about it later. But she goes through and she reconciles it all with the bank account and the bookkeeping. So it's all together, because QuickBooks works with your bank account. So you can see everything. And that's why I recommend QuickBooks. I'm paying $40 a month for it, you know, and FreshBooks is probably cheaper, and they've gotten really big because people were referring people. But I just don't think it has enough power, because it doesn't connect with your bank. It didn't last time I heard. You need PayPal or another payment system so that people can pay you. Zelle is very good. The problem with Zelle is now they don't send or receive money in a business account. So I was paying all of my my webinar presenters by Zelle, and they would be paid instantly, and it came straight out of my account. Well, now I can't do that because I'm going to send it out of my business account. It's a business expense. All business and all personal needs to be sent separately. Okay. So to have another system such as, there are some several other ones out there, but such as PayPal, you know, you're going to pay the 3% or whatever. There's a cost involved in it, but you've got to have something where you can get paid or pay immediately. Then you can also use, you know, the checkbook. I use bill pay through my bank to do some of that. And then you need a bill paying system, which was just like basically how you organize yourself and when you're paying bills. And that's basically going to be kind of like what you do. You know, you'll do that in your appointment book, what's due and all that kind of stuff. And just like you do your personal bills, you'll figure that one out. Now for taxes, I recommend EFTPS. That's Electronic Funds Transfer PS. And I don't remember what that stands for. EF is in Frank, TPS for taxes. Go to EFTPS.gov and sign up and make an account. And then you can automatically transfer money from your checking account to the IRS. And I recommend that you do that on a monthly basis. Because if you just do it quarterly when your taxes are due, it ends up slipping through the cracks. It's not something you do on a regular basis. But if like every month, at the end of the month, you total up how much money you made that month, and then estimate, you know, I'm going to send 30% or however many percentage you want to send, and go ahead and send that directly to the IRS at the end of that month. Then by the end of the year, you're going to have the money in to pay taxes that you need to have in there. So, and because if you don't have it these days, if you're not paying at least quarterly, they'll fine you for it. I've been fined for not paying quarterly. You know, I paid it all, but I didn't pay it quarterly. So then there's an additional fine. So you've definitely got to get in and do that. Get a CPA if you can. And another thing, like when it comes tax time, don't do it yourself. Get a CPA. It's worth it. And then I recommend an EIN number, employee identification number. And anybody can get it by going to the IRS website and applying for it. It's very, very easy, comes very quickly. And the reason I recommend that is because when you're sending out, a client is sending you 1099 forms for you to fill out for them to be able to pay you so they can, I mean, they're sending out the W-4s for you to fill out, for you to be able to get paid on a 1099 at the end of the year. And I don't want to give everybody and his brother my social security number, because my social security number is attached to me and everything from the time I was 13 years old and got that number, you know, and they can get a lot of information about me with that social security number, but the EIN number is different. It's just a tax payment number. And they can send that, you know, pay you and file it under that anyway. You know, you don't just have to do a social security number. So, you know, with all the identity theft and stuff, I recommend that you get an EIN. Okay, plan weekly to keep up with the checkbook, the bills, the taxes, etc. Maybe do a weekly tally of what you have made or what you're going to pay in taxes. So at the end of the month, you have the number right there. Okay, now we've set the foundation. Ready, set, go. Let's talk about how to get noticed, all right? To get noticed, you've got to put yourself out there. Remember, you want to get discovered? Not going to happen. That happens to you. Getting noticed is what you make happen. And that's what we're going to talk about. So you need to have a strong web presence with demos. Don't go to pay to play and you set up your profile there, which if you're on pay to play, you're going to do that. Don't send people the link to that. Don't send people a link to your demos on a site that has a lot of other talents they can hire. And then you need to get your branding done also for your web presence. And that's another whole webinar altogether, and it's something that your coach will do. I do that with the whole voiceover life coaching. You know, we talk about branding, connect you with other people, and go through systems of how to create your branding. It's not always an easy thing to do. Social media, you need to be on LinkedIn. A free account, by the way, is sufficient for all your needs on LinkedIn. This is where you can find a lot of clients. And this is where clients are amenable to you contacting them in the right way, because they're there for business and they understand that you are there for business. So it's not like getting into their personal Facebook page and inundating it with requests for work or anything like that. And there's a way to do it. And we'll talk about that. Tracy Lindley has her upcoming webinar on January 13th. We're going to be sending out information about that shortly. So on the email list, and also the Voiceover Insider Connect Facebook group, you can find information about that. But she's amazing. And she'll talk specifically about LinkedIn and how to find the prospects and then how to approach them when you do find them. Go to Twitter, stalk your people. Go to Twitter, find out what they're tweeting about. Tweet to, things of your own, but don't waste your time following and interacting with other talents. I mean, you're going to do some networking, but get the prospects, find the prospects and be interacting with them. Get their tweets, respond to, like, or whatever it is. I'm not really on Twitter very much, but just basically comment on and affirm, like, all of the tweets of the people that you want to get to know, because you want them to get to know you. And they're going to start noticing who did what, and they're going to start seeing your name over and over. And that's what I mean by get noticed. You can go to Facebook, go to the Voiceover Insider Connect page for networking with other talents. And that there's a lot of good information there. And that's where I want you to put your mission statements. And any advice that you come up with. For example, if you found the perfect CRM, get on there and say, hey guys, I found the perfect CRM at such and such. I like Nimble because of this. I like something else because of that. You know what I mean? Get on and help other talents with that. Go to clients and prospects Facebook pages and just like things. Congratulations on the baby. Let them see comments like that, not give me work. Go to LinkedIn for that. But go to, liking things they have, posting a funny picture of someone, trying to dig out of the snow when, they're in Minneapolis and it's winter and they're digging out of the snow. I thought of you, here's, and then you put that meme in, something like that. I don't know a lot about Pinterest. I'm not on it, but some people say that, you can get a lot of work on it. I don't see how you get work posting pictures, but, I'm busy doing other things. And so I really haven't checked it out. So I really can't say. And then other sources on social media that may not even exist yet, or I don't know about them yet. Just explore every single one that you can get. Okay, the guidelines for social media, take the time to visit it daily. Don't spend too much time, by the way, networking with talents. I want to have you on our Voiceover Connect, Insider Connect site, but don't spend all day there. The talents can't hire you. They can support you. They can be a sounding board for you. They can become your friend. But they're not going to hire you. And you don't want to give them any information, obviously, where, they can get information about your clients. So if you say, hey, I just did a job for Coca-Cola, great. Don't say, hey, I just did a job for so-and-so hired by this agency, and the creative director is this person. No, you don't want to give away your, all of the stuff that you've worked hard to get a hold of. Follow everybody you admire on any kind of social media by basically stalking them so that they will see. You don't want to necessarily interact with them unless you have something to say, but comment on some of the stuff they say. I laughed out loud about this. Oh, that happened to me once. You know what I mean? Just anything like that so that they can notice your name. So when you start contacting them for work or to tell them that you just did that Coca-Cola thing, then they notice you and you automatically get a certain amount of credibility through familiarity. No political rants. I don't care who you're for. I don't care what you think about COVID or wearing masks or President Trump. No political rants at all. Just keep that totally out of it. Be positive and encouraging. Regular contact with clients. You're going to contact these people and prospects too through emails, personal emails, and you want to have your signature all decked out with links to your webpage and to your demos and with your mission statement on it, and any way they can contact you. Personal emails, social media, postcards, occasional swag. I have these things that you can hold your cell phone on, I use them all the time. I've got them all over my house. And what I did is I bought a bunch of these. They're about $10 each. And then these are good because they fold up into a box, basically. And they come with a box. And then I put my little label there. You see Julie Williams voiceovers on it. And so I send that out to certain people. I don't send it to everybody But, if someone gave me a lot of work, I might send it out and say, here, I got a little something for you. I was thinking about you. So, here you go. Or, thanks for your business, or look forward to working with you. Thought you might like this, whatever. Occasional swag can be anything. It could be your, I'm looking right at it. Mouse pad. Why did I have trouble coming up with that word? Your mouse pad, pencils and pens. I know that's done, but it's something that they use. So your information is right there. Coffee mugs. Yeah, been there, done that. But if they use it, it's right in front of them. So it's not necessarily a bad thing to do. Now, I'm not saying send out 1,000 coffee mugs, but maybe at Christmas time, send out 20 of them with little things of hot chocolate in it, and a little piece of garland or even rosemary to look like a Christmas tree. And you send that out in your own, not a Christmas mug, which is nice, but you want to send it out in your own that has your phone number and your information on it, because that's what you want in front of them as they're sitting there having their coffee. Use contact management software, as we talked about. You do email blasts, not too often, maybe once a month or even once every couple of months. Keep them short and sweet. Constant Contact and MailChimp. I'm familiar with MailChimp, but I've never used it. I use Constant Contact, but you can create different lists within them. So you can create a prospect list and a client list. And so you can customize the emails for, I would love to work with you. Hey, it was great working with you. It's time to get together again. Whatever it is that you want to do. And then again, Nimble. I wanted to mention, we already talked about that with Mark Scott. He's got a free trial. And Nimble's about $25 a month. And I think that's probably pretty par for the course when it comes to a CRM. I think that's pretty much what it is. Let's check some more questions. Anybody else have questions?
Mindy is wanting a little clarification. How often is regular contact with contacts and prospects?
Okay, that is kind of vague, isn't it? I would just say create your own system. I've done a number of things. First, I've said monthly or quarterly. With regular clients, you might want to check up every so often, monthly or quarterly. And then the other thing that you can do is I recommend that you create a small target prospect list, because I don't believe you should send out 1,000 postcards and you're going to get work. You're going to send out 1,000 postcards, you're going to pay for 1,000 postcards, you're going to get nothing. But if you decide you come up with, say on LinkedIn, you find viable prospects, you find 20 of them maybe, or even up to 30, and you can get a hold of them once a month. And what you'll do is your job will be to stalk them. You take an hour a day, and every day, or make it 20 because you want to get off on weekends. So every day you're going to take one prospect. You're going to stalk that prospect. You're going to find out all about them, make notes on it, either in a CRM or paper or however you want to do it. Make notes about them, where do they work? What do they do? What awards have they won? How many children do they have? What city do they live in? What do they post about? All that kind of stuff. And you want to post on their stuff. You want to like them. You want to comment on something that they posted and stuff like that. And that's the person you're going to get a hold of that day. And then the next day, you're going to do the next person and you're going to stalk them. You're going to find out all the information. Okay, next month, you're going to go and contact that person number 1 again. And then the next day, person number 2 again. Okay, so every month for a few months, you're going to be targeting these 20 people. You're only going to deal with one person a day. So it's less intimidating for you to do. But you're going to have all that information. And now that doesn't mean you're not going to contact them in between, because you're going to be monitoring social media and you're going to see they posted something else and you're going to post something else. But as far as you contacting them for something, you're pretty much going to do that once a month with just that small group. And then others can be contacting a prospect list, maybe prospects that you haven't worked with every 2 to 3 months, letting them know that you're there, maybe giving them a, hey, I found this great article, thought you might like it. I'm available for voiceovers, whatever. And then your current clients, I would say probably 2 to 3 months, every 2 to 3 months, I want you to contact them and, just do an update. Make it something interesting to them. Don't necessarily make it, here's what I've been doing. That's all focused on you. 10 tips to deal with COVID, or how to do something without losing your shirt, whatever. Just, you've got to be creative. You got to think outside the box and find the creative ways to contact people that everybody else isn't. I hope that answers your question. Still probably kind of vague. It's all vague. You kind of figure it out as you go along. Any last minute questions?
There are none in the box, and no hands are raised.
Okay, so we'll give you a second to raise your hand if you still have another question. In the meantime, I want to let you know about my Proven Techniques for Voiceover Success class, which is going to start. It's a 4-week class, and it's going to start a week from tomorrow and go on until the first week of February. And that's about performance, voiceover performance. We focus on performance to get you the best you can be at the voiceover performance and your technique, refine your technique. Okay, next we have Tracy Lindley's LinkedIn marketing webinar, which is coming in on the 18th, and you'll get information on it shortly. That and my class, you'll get information sent out on shortly. And that's a very critical class. It's an incredible class. You need to check that out. Okay, now my ink has gone away. So what else do we have here? Oh, if you sign up for the Proven Techniques class, you will be refunded for this class, the $21 that you paid for this. And okay, I see something else, and I had dry erase marker notes on, and they kind of smudged. So I don't see what the last one is. Oh, that I'm available for private coaching. The year has ended, and I've got 3 people who are graduating, if you want to call it that, going on to demos and moving on. And so I've got a few openings for private coaching. And so you can email me about that at julie@voice-overs.com. And if you need references, I've got like 100 million of them that I can send you. Lots of successful talents. I can send you their names and their email addresses so you can check out. I can send you samples of all the demos, of not all, but a selection of a bunch of demos that I produced and stuff like that. Okay, a couple more questions coming in.
We have Merlin just thanking us. She's going back to bed now.
Go to bed. Merlin's she's in Denmark. She's across the world.
Cassandra says, to confirm, the Proven Techniques does not start tomorrow.
Correct.
It's a week.
We're going to postpone it. It starts a week from tomorrow. We have a low turnout right now, and so we're going to be marketing it a little bit longer. Coming through the holidays is kind of hard for people to see. So yeah, Cassandra, it's going to be a week from tomorrow, not tomorrow like we had originally planned. And then, we've got some more questions coming in.
No, just thanking you for that clarification.
Okay. All right. So nothing else.
No more questions.
Okay, cool. So I want to let you guys know that around June 1st or so, about 6 months in, we're going to do sort of a checkup here. We're going to have another 2021 assessment about how things are going so far with what we've been working on. So we can maybe help each other to overcome some of the challenges that we've had in implementing some of this stuff. And I'm always available to you at julie@voice-overs.com. So feel free to contact me. And thank you for joining us tonight.